Ash Ketchum makes his grand entrance in Lumio City of the Kalos region, where his first gym battle and so much more await. The gym is located in the awe-inspiring tourist attraction, the Prism Tower. However, as soon as he gets there, the gym rejects his challenge because he first needs to earn 4 badges. Just when you think the worst they could say is no, the gym system electrocutes our hero and sends him all the way down and basically fall to his death. But luckily, his savior is there to rescue him. These 2 blonde-haired kids see Ash dropping from the sky, and the older one throws his trusty inflatable device to cushion Ash's landing, while the younger one catches Pikachu with her bare hands. These 2 are brother and sister Clemont and Bonnie. Bonnie then hugs Pikachu too hard, causing him to react with his own electric shock, so Clemont gently scolds his little sister and makes her realize her mistake. Ash explains everything that happened, and Bonnie explains that the Lumio City gym leader is the super duper strong person. Clemont, Bonnie, and Ash formally introduce themselves to each other, then Ash asks if he could see Clemont's Pokemon and challenges them to a battle. While Clemont's a bit hesitant at first, Bonnie says that it's a great test of strength, so he gladly accepts. He sends out his newly caught Bunnelby against Ash's Pikachu. You could tell that Clemont is an experienced battler with how he commands the battle and sets up his own tricks. When Pikachu goes for Thunderbolt, he calls Bunnelby to use his ears to stir up a sand blockade. Bunnelby then goes for the super effective dig, and Pikachu tries to confuse it with Quick Attack, but Bunnelby's exceptional sense of hearing makes it easily locate the mouse Pokemon. Pikachu gets on his feet and attacks with another Quick Attack, hitting its mark, but Bunnelby responds with a series of double slaps. Ash decides to go for Iron Tail, but Clemont reckons that Bunnelby is ready to catch the metallic tail with his ear. But he falls right into Ash's trap, as now Bunnelby can't move, leaving him vulnerable to a close-on Electro Ball. But Bunnelby is resilient alright, and the battle goes on. Just before they could clash their attacks, Team Rocket interrupts the battle with hopes of stealing Pikachu. At first, Clemont is fascinated by Meowth's ability to talk, but when Ash explains who they are, he declares that he will not sit idly and let them steal other people's Pokemon. Bunnelby attacks them with Mudshot, but Wobbuffet successfully evades all of his attacks and Mirror Coats Pikachu's Electro Ball. Luckily for them, Froakie out of nowhere saves the day, and Team Rocket is blasted off. But this whole fiasco causes Froakie to get severely injured and is now in need of immediate treatment. Ash, Bonnie, and Clemont run straight to the Pokemon Center, and it's here where we know that Clemont isn't the best runner. No matter how fast he tries to run, he just doesn't have the endurance to keep up with them. Of course, we all know the bag of his is heavy, containing all these amazing futuristic gadgets like he's Doraemon. But unlike Doraemon, his inventions are usually 50-50. Some serve their purpose, while some, well, explode. He's also not the most graceful dancer either, as seen later in Party Dancecapades, where he's completely out of his element dancing with these ladies in a showcase party. But hey, at least Bunnelby's having a great time. When the gang visits Professor Sycamore's lab, Team Rocket's machine causes Garchomp to go on a rampage around Lumio City, eventually landing on top of the Prism Tower. Clemont, being well versed with the building, leads the way and manages to open various entrances with his technology. This would give way for Ash to rescue the rampaging Garchomp, however an accident causes Pikachu to fall down the Prism Tower, causing Ash to risk his own life to save his buddy. With no hope left for both of them, Blaziken Mask, a mysterious hero, suddenly appears out of nowhere and rescues Ash of Pikachu. But just who is Blaziken Mask? More importantly, Ash's act of courage electrifies Clemont's spirit. He knows that with Ash by his side, he himself can get stronger. So after touring him further around Lumio City, Clemont and Bonnie decide to join Ash on his travels around the Kalos region. Throughout their travels, Bonnie befriends this cute little Dedenne, prompting Clemont to catch the antenna Pokemon and hold it for Bonnie until the day she's legally allowed to own a Pokemon. After Ash wins his first badge in the Santaloon Gym, he gives credit to Clemont for giving him the inspiration to come up with some big brain battle tactics. The failure of Clemont's inventions from earlier gave Ash the perfect idea for Pikachu to use Electro Ball on itself to ward off the sleep powder. Not long after, our family of 3 increases to 4 as Serena joins the team. Ash's next gym is located in Silage City, but to go here they would first have to pass by Lumio City again, where Ash is itching to challenge the gym despite the 4-badge rule. Serena enjoys every second of her time in Lumio City, exploring all the boutiques and food, but Clemont and Bonnie seem to really want to get out of this place pronto. But then their dad Mayor shows up. He's happy to see his children, but then he proceeds to tell Clemont to come home sometime, and that he needs to be a gym leader that Lumio's gym can be proud of. Well, there goes Clemont's little secret. Ash and Serena confront Clemont on this shocking news. Get it? Shocking? So he's got no choice but to tell them the whole story. You see, being a gym leader is a super busy task, which caused Clemont to be unable to do some of his hobbies like inventing gadgets. So he engineered his own gym leader robot named Clembot to help fulfill his gym leader responsibilities and hence give him more time. But a programming malfunction has caused Clembot to go out of control, and now Clemont is unable to go back into his gym. And now they learn that when trainers lose, Clembot electrocutes them and throws them out of the gym. But thanks to the motivation given by Ash and Serena, Clemont decides to take matters into his own hands and reclaim his gym. They enter the secret entrance guarded by some of Clemont's Pokemon, but they're under the control of Clembot, so their friendly nature suddenly turns into attack mode. Good thing Ash and Serena are there to help immobilize this Pokemon. On the battlefield, he reunites with Clembot. He finally remembers his voice code to initiate a battle with the robot, and the two engage in a battle, with Bunnelby battling against Clemont's own Pokemon Heliolisk. Bunnelby uses his ground-type moves and ability to navigate through the holes to seal his victory. This results in Clembot recognizing Clemont to be his master. With that, Clemont fixes the robot's program, and now it's become a kinder, more professional gym leader. It's also during this time when Clemont and Bonnie formally ask for their dad's permission to travel through Kalos, and thanks to Ash, Serena, and Clembot's reassurance, Mayor happily approves, not worrying about a thing because they have great friends. At night, Clemont and Ash have a short conversation, and here Ash says that he respects Clemont's preference of battling trainers with 4 badges, so he declares to come back to Lumio City when he's got 4 badges, and Clemont accepts Ash's proposal of battling him instead of Clembot. While in Lumio City, our heroes decide to stop by Professor Sycamore's lab. Here they meet a Chespin, one of Kalos' 3 starter Pokemon, and this Chespin is a glutton who likes taking all of Serena's macaroons. But after Team Rocket kidnaps the professor, and by extension Serena and Bonnie, Clemont and Ash are now on a mission to rescue them. During the pursuit, Chespin almost gets squashed by Team Rocket's machine, but here Clemont saves him. This act of heroism and kindness causes the little one to take a liking to him, so with Bonnie and Professor Sycamore's engagement, Clemont takes Chespin with him as a new member of his party. One night, in the middle of the woods, Chespin once again ate all of their macaroons. He's become so full and heavy that he loses to Ash's Froakie and even Bonnie's Dedenne in a battle. Clemont is deeply embarrassed that a gym leader like him would lose in such a manner, so he made a treadmill machine to help Chespin get into shape. But little does he know that while he's inventing the machine, Chespin already wanders off into the forest. The gang tries to find Chespin until they see him with an old woman named Carrie who bakes macaroons. Seeing that Chespin seems delighted being with Carrie and her macaroons, Clemont contemplates that maybe he should just leave him there. Chespin soon finds himself involved in Carrie's family drama and battles Wily's Delphox. But when Chespin gets threatened to be toasted, Clemont interrupts the battle and stops the attack from connecting. Chespin decides to continue the battle, but now with Clemont as his trainer, and they even manage to activate Overgrow. But the battle never ends because Wily hurts his back, causing him to be unable to battle. The episode ends proving that Clemont and Chespin indeed have great chemistry, and their friendship only grows stronger from here on out. In Campfire Town, a noise pollution involving a snoring Snorlax has become a problem for the town. The only thing that could wake him up is the Pokeflute, which is currently in the hands of Princess Ali at the Parfume Palace. Our heroes decide to go there to retrieve the flute, but they didn't expect this girl to be stuck up selfish, obnoxious brat. She strikes a deal that Ash and Pikachu must battle her and her Furfuro. If he wins, they get the Pokeflute. If she wins, she gets Pikachu. Ash easily wins his battle, but Princess Ali still refuses to give the Pokeflute. So Clemont, with his strong sense of justice, scolds her harshly, spewing out these mean words, so mean that Princess Ali falls in love with him and thinks that he cares deeply for her. So she strikes another deal and says that they can have their Pokeflute in exchange for Clemont. Ash, Serena, and Bonnie agree and promise Clemont that they'll return for him as soon as the Snorlax problem is solved. But they forgot about him, so he takes matters into his own hands and creates a fake dummy of himself to escape. Whew, that was close. Ash's former male companions always have something special they're obsessed about. Brock with girls, Tracy with sketching, and Silent with just about everything. Clemont is no different. His obsession is with technology. He adores exploring the latest technological trends and inventing all these various random futuristic gadgets that can sometimes be helpful or lead to disaster. He's also a big fan of fossils, so I guess Clemont is fascinated by both the things in the past and in the future. Clemont and Bonnie have a great brother-sister relationship. They may fight at times, like when Bonnie refuses to eat her veggies, but she's usually obedient and easy to get along with, and Clemont is always patient and uplifting towards his little sister. Their dynamic is always fun because when Bonnie sees a pretty girl, she would get on her knees and propose to her to be Clemont's keeper. Then Clemont would get embarrassed and drag Bonnie away with his Apom arm. It's literally the opposite of Brock and Max. As a break in the middle of their long travels, Professor Sycamore invites our heroes on his own version of Pokemon Summer Camp. Clemont happily joins as he, Ash, Serena, and Bonnie find themselves grouped together in Team Froakie. During the camp they did all this fun stuff like fishing, Pokevision, Pokemon Orienteering, and the last event, Team Battle Tournament. Team Froakie makes their way all the way to the finals where Clemont, Ash, and Serena face against Team Squirtle's Tierno, Shauna, and Trevor. This battle decides which team emerges as the overall champion of the summer camp. Clemont uses Chespin in the battle, and though Serena's Fennekin is taken out early in this battle, Chespin and Pikachu display great teamwork together, finishing off Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle all together. Next, during the Pledging Tree Festival, it's an annual tradition for our trainers to give presents to their Pokemon as a sign of their love and care for each other. While others struggled in search of shops and what to buy, Clemont creatively does everything by hand. He crafts his beautiful Clemontic gear mini box for his Bunnelby, Chespin, and Luxio. Wait, did I say Luxio? Since when did Clemont catch a Luxio? Looks like I skipped something. A few episodes back, our heroes come across these machines that shower electricity with electric-type Pokemon really enjoy. Turns out it is Clemont who invented these, and this place is where Clemont used to go to school. Not only was Clemont a student, but he also graduated with top honors thanks to his Clemontic Showers invention. But the invention of these Clemontic Showers were actually inspired by his old friend Shinx. You see, one day as a student, Clemont stumbles across an exhausted Shinx and quickly brings it to the Pokemon Center. According to Nurse Joy, this phenomenon has occurred multiple times already because due to the unfavorable environment, electric Pokemon don't have good access to absorbing electrical energy. And this is what sparked him to create the Clemontic Showers, which was well received not only by the school but by the entire town. Throughout his research, Shinx always visited Clemont and they kind of bonded a lot. But the day before his graduation, Clemont was on his way to the regular meeting place bringing Shinx a cake as thanks for his help in his graduation research. But the town's mayor hurriedly takes him on his limousine for dinner, causing Clemont to miss their regular meetup. Clemont went back after dinner, but he never saw Shinx again. Team Rocket then shows up and attempts to steal precious electricity from this town. Coincidentally, a wild Luxio made its habitat near the Transformer, so it tries its best to stop Team Rocket's operation. And yes, this Luxio is the very same Shinx that once befriended Clemont. As the chaos further intensifies, our heroes get involved and Clemont proposes that he should battle alongside Luxio. The two still make a great team after all these years. When Clemont throws his body in front of Luxio to protect it from an oncoming attack, they both muster the connection they once had and send Team Rocket blasting off. Clemont explains what happened during their day of separation, and then proceeds to propose for Luxio to come with him. The next day, Luxio shows up at their old meeting place, and Clemont finally catches his very best friend. Not long after, Ash claims his 4th badge in the Kunrin Gym. This only means one thing, it's time for Clemont to fulfill his promise of battling Ash as soon as he earns 4 badges. But instead of getting pumped, the idea of battling Ash pressures Clemont. It's caused him to go into this deep melancholic thoughts that he could no longer notice what's happening around him. Well, the reason for this is because Clemont is having doubts if he truly has what it takes to keep up with Ash's skill and give him the amazing battle that he deserves. With our heroes reaching the power plant, Team Rocket schemes on using the antennas to control the electric-type Pokemon. This causes Pikachu, Dedenne, and Luxio to turn on their trainers and fall into Team Rocket's trap. Clemont and Ash try to brute force their way, but the Pokemon are really hypnotized that Luxio unconsciously injects its electric fangs onto its trainer. We could only see the struggle in Luxio's face trying to fight off the signals, but Clemont refuses to give up and whispers through to Luxio's heart, saying that he won't quit until Luxio is safe and sound. Clemont withstands the powerful discharge and commands Luxio to keep on using discharge. This destroys Team Rocket's system, but leaves Clemont exhausted. The exhaustion soon disappears as Luxio's body grows bright and evolves into the mighty Luxray. Having learned to use electric terrain, electric-type moves are boosted and all the electric Pokemon join up their moves to send Team Rocket blasting off. At the end of the day, Clemont is still second guessing his skills as a gym leader, so he makes his decision to ride the helicopter bound for Lumio City, leaving Bonnie under the care of Serena. Clemont's goal is to train as hard as he can, so when Ash reaches Lumio City, Clemont's gonna be able to give him the battle that he deserves and expects from a gym leader. During his time away from Ash, Clemont is putting the work further training his Pokemon by battling trainers that challenge the gym. One of his challengers is Sawyer, who at the time is still quite a beginner. As a gym leader, Clemont is great at giving notes on his challengers after the battle, pointing out areas for improvement. It isn't long until Ash, Serena, and Bonnie arrive at Lumio City and reunite with Clemont. But before they can even begin their battle, a strange series of criminal cases occur around Lumio City. A robot has been vandalizing random places in the city, and this robot is strikingly similar to Clemont. With Clemont not being the main suspect, Clemont works his way into clearing its name, and he soon identifies the culprit being Dark Clemont, a robot created by Dr. Belmondo. When Dr. Belmondo and the Dark Clemont try to sneak their way into the Lumio's museum, Clemont and his friends, including Alexa, track the location and interrupt their schemes. With the robotic pride on the line, Clemont and Dark Clemont engage in a Pokemon battle. The two robots are on par in terms of skill, but it is OG Clemont who has shown to have more concern towards his Pokemon, whereas Dark Clemont couldn't care less about his Pokemon's well-being. The battle then gets interrupted by Team Rocket, but after they're dealt with, Clemont takes charge and battles Dr. Belmondo himself. The battle is very quick as Luxray 2-shots Magnezone using a non-very effective moves, showing that Clemont's strength as a trainer has significantly improved since the last time we saw him battling. Now that the Dark Clemont issue has been resolved, it's finally time for the moment of truth. The long-awaited battle between two friends and talented trainers, Clemont and Ash. The 3-on-3 battle starts off as a callback to Clemont and Ash's very first battle, Bunnelby vs Pikachu. Pikachu instantly attacks with his trusty Thunderbolt, but Bunnelby once again counters it by creating some dust clouds. Bunnelby smartly follows with a super effective dig, hitting its mark, but Pikachu quickly responds with Quick Attack as Bunnelby fights back with a double slap. Pikachu now goes for Iron Tail, but Bunnelby catches it with its ears. And if you're wondering, yes, it's the exact same move successions as their very first battle. They probably even use the exact same animation for most of these. But now, things are about to take a turn. Bumblebee attacks Pikachu head-on with Wild Charge, and combines it with Dig to avoid receiving counterattacks while Bumblebee takes the recoil damage. Dig connects again, but Pikachu stands strong. Pikachu now goes for Quick Attack, baiting Bumblebee to use another Dig, but Clemont falls into Ash's trap as Pikachu slams its Iron Tail on the ground, causing a pile of rocks and Bumblebee to fly up. Pikachu finishes Bumblebee off with another Iron Tail, and Ash takes the first victory. Clemont now sends out his Heliolisk, but Ash decides to switch in Goodra. Heliolisk is extremely speedy and is able to run circles around Goodra. It then attacks with a Blinding Flash, then lands a devastating Dragon Tail. Heliolisk is dominating this battle, stopping all of Goodra's attacks and then paralyzing it with Thunder Wave. Ash smartly switches to Hawlucha, aiming to fight speed with speed. Hawlucha wastes no time and attacks with a super effective Karate Chop, but Heliolisk manages to gain a lot of its health back with a series of parabolic charges and even lowering its accuracy with Flash. But then, Ash notices that every time Heliolisk goes for an attack, there's a slight delay before the attack is executed, as Heliolisk would first expand its frills. So Ash baits Heliolisk into expanding its frills, and instantly causes Hawlucha to use the insanely powerful move High Jump Kick, finishing off the lizard Pokemon. And now, Clemont is down to his last Pokemon, while Ash still has 3. If you think Ash is just going to sweep this battle 3-0, you couldn't be more wrong, because after Clemont's final Pokemon Luxray uses Electric Terrain, powering up all of its electric attacks, it proceeds to finish off Hawlucha and Pikachu without much effort. Ash is suddenly down to his final Pokemon as well, Goodra. At this point, Clemont feels a little bit conflicted. As a friend, he wants to give Ash a badge, but with his pride as a gym leader, he also doesn't want to. All he knows is that he really enjoys his battle and wants for it to go on and on. With Electric Terrain still in effect, and Goodra being paralyzed, Clemont is now at a clear advantage. But Ash knows exactly what to do. He calls for Rain Dance, taking advantage of Goodra's hydration ability and cures off its paralysis. And not only that, the Rain also manages to remove the Electric Terrain. Clemont goes for the offense with Thunder Fang, then Wild Charge, then Swift. But Ash knows that his tanky Goodra can tank all these attacks, so he commands it to use Bite. And after 3 turns, the Bite energy has been unleashed, taking Luxray out and winning Ash the gym battle. Clemont proudly hands his friend his well-deserved Voltage badge, and both Bonnie and Meyer express amazement and pride for Clemont. After the gym battle, Clemont decides to resume traveling with his friends, once again leaving the gym to a newly improved and more responsible and more talented Clembot. Ever since rejoining Ash, Serena, and Bonnie in their travels, Clemont has become an even more reliable companion, clearly shown in cases such as when he rescues them from a trap situation inside the scary house, and when he fixes the electrical system in the Pokemon Center. During this time, all his Pokemon work together to help him in every single way they can. Luxray and the Den assist in providing the necessary electricity to power the generator, while Bumblebee and Chespin run a long perilous errand to buy the necessary electronic part in a different town. This is such an amazing episode for Clemont, as we get to see how well trained and responsible his Pokemon have become under his wing. As they continue on their journey, our heroes find themselves falling into a pit that leads to an abandoned subway tunnel. This reminds Clemont and Bonnie of the first time they met Bumblebee, a young bunny who's part of a group of friends living in a subway car in Lumio City. But it's not all peaceful down there, as a fearsome Diggersby threatens to steal their home. But being the feisty battler that it is, Bumblebee defeats Diggersby thanks to Clemont's battling advice. Soon the two rabbits eventually become friends, then suddenly the underground starts shaking as a result of a demolition process. This puts their subway car home in grave danger, but good thing Clemont and Bonnie are there to help Bumblebee and his friends transfer the car into a different place. In the end, as Clemont and Bonnie are about to bid their goodbyes, Bumblebee's friends encourage him to go with Clemont, and with happy tears in their eyes, Clemont and Bumblebee become inseparable partners ever since. Days after Squishy joins the gang on their expeditions, it suddenly disappears in the forest one afternoon. Bunny could hardly enjoy her dinner, worrying about the well-being and safety of her friend, so she recklessly decides to run into the forest to find it, but Clemont quickly grabs her by the arm and stops her. Bonnie tries to resist, but Clemont explains that it's too dangerous for Bonnie to go there as well. Bonnie listens to her big brother, and Clemont promises that they'll find Squishy tomorrow. So for Bonnie's sake, he spends the night inventing a device specifically designed to track Squishy's whereabouts. The device is accurate with its readings and brings him much closer to Squishy before exploding. And after a bit more searching, Squishy realizes that his group of friends have genuinely good hearts and genuinely good intentions, so it consciously decides to sneak back into Bonnie's bag. Clemont's showcase of invention prowess doesn't stop there, because when our heroes pass by a hot, dry, and barren forest, they encounter a robot named Robone, along with a chestnut who's trying to plant seeds in the desolate soil. Of course, there's no water, so the seeds can't grow, so Clemont analyzes the environment and repairs and improves Robone. And together they successfully find the water source and drill it open, giving the land full access to a healthy spring of water. And after some time, plants are expected to grow once again in the forest, just like how it used to. That's our environmental activist king. Now, every time a pretty girl appears in the Pokemon anime, Bonnie would often ask him to marry her brother, right? This time a girl named Lily appears. The same thing happens, Bonnie proposes to her, and Clement embarrassingly grabs her with his APOM arm. But unlike the previous woman, Lily is interested in the proposal, saying that she's actually looking for a partner. This shocks everyone and embarrasses Clement. The group then invites Lilia to join them for the day, and it turns out Lilia is very knowledgeable about robots, because she's the daughter of the president of the world's #1 robot manufacturing company. Clement and Lilia hit it off quickly. They spend the entire day talking about robots and technology and all that smart stuff. Even Lilia's Buneri seems to have a thing for Clement's Bumblebee. Clement and Lilia seem to have a perfect chemistry, but being the possessive little sister she is, Bonnie is not happy about this. She would spend the day trying to sabotage Clement and Lilia's conversations, and would tell Lilia stories about Clement's most embarrassing details. But this only draws Lilia's heart closer to Clement, thinking all his quirks are cute. But in the end, Lilia decides that she's not quite ready to find a partner, so Clement is spared from an early marriage. Clement may have lost his ticket to becoming co-heir of the greatest robotics company in the world, but at least he gets to experience the greatest exhibition of mechanical devices in the entire Kalos region. It's the dream day off for any aspiring inventor. Clement spends the entire day fanboying over each little thing, educating his friends about how gimmicky gadgets are so cool, and navigating them around this gigantic maze filled with moving objects, trapdoors, and fun puzzles. It's one of the most fun and relaxing episodes to watch, but we all know out of everyone, Clement is the one enjoying it the most. Good for him, honestly. Clement continues to be a big help for his friends, especially to Ash, as his role of analyzing Ash and Greninja's waveforms would be crucial at helping them understand Ash Greninja until they eventually master the phenomenon. And after Ash Greninja's great showing in the Kalos League, it's time for Clement to unleash his true skills, both on the battlefield and science, as he takes on Team Flare and strives to save the world. He soon learns that Team Flare uses his gym as headquarters for their operations, so he mercilessly quests to reclaim his gym despite Blaziken Mask's attempt to stopping him. Along the way, Clement and Clembot work together to immobilize their opponents, Aliana and Bryony, and work their way through the insides of the Lumio's gym, where they face Xerosic. Clement distracts him by engaging in a double battle, as Clembot sneaks in to infiltrate the Mega Evolution Ray that's being used to control Zygarde. Chessman and Bumblebee eventually take out Xerosic's Pokemon, and Clembot sends him down the trapdoor. With the threat out of the way, Clement and Clembot direct all their focus at programming their way to stop Team Flare's control on Zygarde. The only way to do this is to force the system to shut down. However, since Clembot is directly connected to the system, the force shutdown will cause his main memory to be completely erased. Accepting his own inevitable rupture, Clembot encourages Clement that he's the only one who can save the world, telling him of how kind and generous he is as a gym leader, always thinking of the needs of the many. Clembot mentions that his learning together with Clement made him happy. Clembot thanks Clement for creating him, and with a heavy heart and rivulets of tears showering from his eyes, Clement clicks a button, destroying the system and Clembot in the process. Zygarde has been freed, and now Clement rejoins Ash and Alon for the grand finale and battles alongside the strongest trainers of Kalos to put an end of Lysandra and the Giant Rock and save Marin's Chespy. Amidst the fight, Blaziken Mask accidentally unveils his cover, and Clement and Bonnie are surprised to know that he's actually their father in disguise. After a long arduous night, seeing the compassion and flair in the hearts of people causes Zygarde to transform into its complete form and finish Lysandra off once and for all, and all of that is possibly partly thanks to Clement's efforts in this whole crisis. With a Team Flare showdown behind him, Clement and his people work together to rebuild his gym. Clement works on reviving Clembot, but this time it's a new one with no memory of its past. Soon a boy named Alvin challenges the gym, so it's the perfect time for a new Clembot to train its battling skills. Clement guides it all throughout the battle, and Clembot reacquires things it once learned. Alvin eventually wins the battle, and Clement promises to teach Clembot more about Pokemon and battling. Later in the afternoon, Professor Sycamore awards our heroes with these cool medals, and as a celebration of Kalos' survival, they light a Prism Tower against a firework backdrop for all of Kalos to witness and enjoy. However, not everything is completely resolved because Xerosic is still on the loose. Xerosic devises a plan to kidnap Clement as a revenge for sending him down the trapdoor. But Clement's quick thinking allows him to not get controlled by Xerosic's Mega Evolution Ray. As a result, he's backed into a corner, and even if he tries to escape, Clement's APOM arm ensures that he gets arrested and pays for all the catastrophe he caused. Now that Serena has finished her master class, Ash is done with the Kalos League, and Kalos is pretty much back to normal. It's time for our heroes to move on from their adventure and set their sights on a new one, but this time apart from each other. They enjoy one final lunch and bid their goodbyes at the airport. Serena leaves first, and we all know what happened there. Hours later, it's time for Ash to fly back to Kanto. But just before that, he and Clement would like to enjoy one final battle with each other. Bumblebee vs Pikachu, the same one as their very first battle. At the end of XY, Clement remains in Lumio City creating new inventions and continuously improving Clembot's AI, all with the constant support of his younger sister. After the XY series, Clement continues to be a kind and competent inventor. One day as he and Bonnie are fishing, they meet Silent, who's visiting Lumio City for the subway stations and everything in between. So Clement and Bonnie decide to tour him around. But then while they're on the subway, Bonnie gets separated from Clement and Silent and is on board on the train alone. Clement and Silent work their way to the control room to stop Bonnie's train, but then a wild Electro shows up, endangering Bonnie even further. But thanks to Clemont and Silent's Apom arm and fishing rod, Bonnie is saved, and together they help the wandering Electros escape the dreaded subway. And finally, in Pokemon Journeys, Ash decides to visit the Lumio's gym in preparation for his Ultra Class battle with Elite Four Drasna. Clemont, Bonnie, and Ash are so delighted to see each other as they introduce their new Pokemon. For Clemont, his Bunnelby has finally evolved into Diggersby, an evolution that definitely sparked some controversy amongst fans. And now that Ash is here, Clemont gladly helps him train for his upcoming battle. Clemont spends the day analyzing Sirfetch''s moves, and thanks to Clemont, Sir Clemont has finally mastered his signature move, Meteor Assault. And Dracovish also learns a new move, Dragon Rush. This training was pivotal for Ash's battle with Drasna, as he would later win and advance his promotional match with Raihan. Clemont and Bonnie witnessed the Drasna battle from their stands, and they would later witness Ash's final battle with Leon from their home, cheering for him all throughout. Clemont is always a fun character to be around, like you could do anything with him and his character would never get derailed. Honestly, he's probably the least controversial companion that Ash has ever had. There's really nothing to hate about Clemont. He's got a good and healthy fan base, he's never overridden or underridden, he's just a great guy. He was written in a way that made for a natural transition from Silent to him. And although he's got a lot of similarities to Silent, Clemont is quite a completely different character with a different personality and different quirks and interests. His dynamic with everyone, maybe except for Serena, was always fun to watch. As a brother, son, friend, gym leader, and creator, Clemont always finds a way to brighten up the mood and spark something in the hearts of the people around him. Thanks so much for watching Clemont's complete history, and if you're still here, comment down below. Science is so amazing! But as always, it's been your boy LUAP, and I'm out.